Middle schoolers gathered today at the American Bank Center to take part in an ice race game to learn about the dangers of nicotine use. The Kick the Butts event was organized by the UT University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center to promote good health to middle school students and teach them about the dangers of tobacco and nicotine use.
We learn more and more about vaping products not being completely harmless, and they also could be a gateway to starting cigarettes, for example. So that's what we're trying to convey, the message of addiction.
Students also got to learn about Aspire, a bilingual online smoking prevention interactive experience about staying on the good path by being tobacco and nicotine free. 16 different school districts attended this event.